Good morning friends. Today we start our new topic, design of foot over bridge, the subject of design of steel structure. These are the contents of our topic. First, when to use truss girder, difference between the truss girder and plate girder, type of truss girder, component of truss girder, loads on truss girder, application of foot over bridge and design example. When to use? So when we have to construct the foot over bridge, when to carry the main load, when the load is so large that cannot be economically bridged using like a plate girder. If the span is comparatively large, that time we have to use foot over bridge. What is the difference between the plate girder and truss girder? Plate girder. Plate girder is a one type of continuous slab, when the truss girder is the non-continuous open web having the vertical and inclined member. So plate girder have only one member like a continuous slab. Smaller span up to 15 to 24 meter, and rather than truss girder, smaller span up to 30 and more. Elevation is not a good. Elevation is good in truss girder. More cost and it's not economical. That truss girder is a least core and most economical bridge. Type of truss girder. So there is the three type of truss girder. One is the through type, deck type, and last one semi type, otherwise half through type. We can see the figure of three different type of the truss girder. First one is the deck type of truss girder bridge. The second one is the through type of truss bridge, and last one is the semi through type of truss bridge. First, deck type bridge. In the deck type bridge, we can see the truss girder is the below the roadway. So it is very useful in the construction. The carriageway rests on the top of the main load carrying the member. In the deck type plate girder bridge, the roadway or railway is placed on the flange as shown. The cross girder are supported by the truss, generally at the panel point. Second one is the through type of bridge. We can see in the figure the carriageway rests at the bottom level of the main load carrying member. In the through type plate girder, the roadway or railway is placed at the level of bottom flange. The bracing of top flange or the lateral support of the top cord under the compression is required. Semi-through type bridge, last one. The deck lies between the top and bottom of the main load carrying the member. So in the figure we can see that last one is the semi-through type of bridge. So carriageway is the between the top and bottom cord member. The bracing of the top flange or top cord under the compression is not done, and the part of the load carrying system project above the floor level. The lateral restraint in the system is obtained usually by the U-frame action of the vertical and cross beam acting together. Component of the truss girder. So this figure gives the different components in the truss girder. Last one, the base of it is the bottom cord member. It is the combination of the end floor beam, intermediate post, bottom lateral, counter, main tie, string brace, stringer. Upper one is top cord member, which is the combination of the top lateral truss, sway brace, sway truss, portal strut and end post. So this figure gives the different component of the truss girder of the bridge. So it is the chord, it called cord, nodal point, floor beam, it is the stringer. The weight of the truck and the bridge deck is carried by the string into the floor beam, and the floor beam carries this load to the truss at the nodal point joint. The bottom chord of the truss is not bent by the weight of the trucks because the stringer is attached to the floor beam, not to the truss cord. So, stringer is carrying the load of the truck. So, this figure gives the idea about the which type of the truss girder. Loads on the truss girder. So, how many types of the loads are acting on the truss girder? The following are the various load to be considered for the purpose of computing stress. First is the laid load. It is the self weight of the structure. Live load, impact load, it is also called the point load. Longitudinal load, wind load, seismic load, it is also called earthquake. Racking force, where the rackers is provided. Force due to curvature. Force on parapets, frictional resistance of the expansion brings. Common type of the trusses. Trusses were commonly named after the person who developed them. Example are following. First is the King Post, Warren, Howe, English, Pratt, Flink and Parker. First is the King Post. It's the very simple because it is a combination of diagonal, vertical and bottom chord member. Second one is the Warren. Warren in which the top chord and bottom chord member which is connected by the only diagonal or cross bracing. So we can see in the 3D view. Howe truss. It is the top and bottom chord member. It is connected by the diagonal as well as vertical member for the connection different two span. So we can see in the 3D view. English truss generally may be used in the industrial shade. So it is the combination of the diagonal vertical members. Pratt truss is mainly used and very easy to understand. It is the diagonal, verticals, top chord member and bottom chord members are connected, and at the center line it is divided in equal. So we can see in the 3D view. Flink, it is the also used in the industrial building. Parker, it is the connection of the archer with the bottom chord member. So it is the arc truss which is connected by the vertical members and diagonal members. Application of foot over bridge. So we generally know where the foot over bridge applied. First is the railway station to change the platform. So everyone know when we go to the railway station, we have to change the platform. That time we use that bridge. It is also called the foot over bridge. You can see in this figure. Skywalk in the metro city. In the metro city, it is a very congested area. That time foot over bridge is also provided. Connecting two buildings and two towers. So to change the operation, we have to use this type of the building towers which is connected by the foot over bridge. Busy street to cross the road. Yes. So for the crossing the road, we also use the foot over bridge. Now we go for the design example. So first we design the steel foot over bridge. We have to understand which type of the truss we provided. Then after we specify the design criteria. So now we go for the design example. Design a steel foot over bridge for the following data. Span of bridge is equal to 24 meter. Width of walkway is equal to 4 meter. Flooring is equal to RCC slab 110 mm thick. Live load 5 kN per meter square. Floor finish 0.75 kN per meter square. Use N type of lattice girder. Assume the suitable data if necessary. Rackers are provided at the alternate top chord joint. Take the Fy is equal to 250 Newton per mm square. Okay. So first we analyze the example. So which type of data is given up to you. So design a steel foot over bridge for the following data. So first span of bridge is given, it is our 24 meter. Width of walkway is also given, it is 4 meter. And the flooring is the combination of RCC. So it is 110 mm thick. So thickness of flooring is given. Load, two types of load is given, live load and floor finish. And it is very important to understand which type of truss here provided. It is the N type of lattice girder. So N type of lattice girder here is the use, it's called the Pratt truss, because it is the making of combination of diagonal and vertical member. So it's a look like the N type of the lattice girder. We can see in the figure, it is the N type of the lattice girder. Rackers are provided at the top chord joint, alternate top chord joint we provide the rackers. Okay, so let me start the example. First step, geometry of lattice girder. Before any design of any section, we have to identify the different dimension. It's called the geometry of the lattice girder. After the identified the dimension, we have to put the loads on that. Then after the putting load, we check it's carrying the shear force and bending moment. So we have to identify the shear force and bending moment. After that we make the design. So that we provide the one class, and then after we design the any section and alternate last we check. Then after finally we join the section by using the bolting or welding. First, geometry of lattice girder. Assume the depth of girder is equal to L by 8. So this equation is also taken from L by 8 to L by 12. So then after that way we identified the depth of the girder. Then after we identified the panel length. So panel length is a depend upon the span of the bridge. So we have to equally divide our span of the bridge. It easy for calculation. Length of vertical member 3 meter. Length of diagonal member, see we identified according to Pythagoras law, under root of 3 square plus 3 square, it is 4.24 meter. This figure give the elevation and plan of the our section. Next step, design of cross beam. So here we provide the slab, so we have to design that. So dead load due to slab. So our thickness of member is a 110 mm. So that time it is 0.11 multiply with the density of concrete. So density of concrete we know very well, it is the 25 kilonewton per meter cube. Then after two loads we given in the example, floor finish and live load. So total summation is equal to 8.5 kilonewton per meter square. Then after we width of carriage, one cross beam it is equal to 3 meters. So load per length of the beam is equal to 25.5 kilonewton per meter. So we assume the self weight of the section is a 0.5 and total weight is equal to 26 kilonewton per meters. After the finding the total weights, we have to always make the factored. So factored UDL is equal to 1.5 multiply with the 26, it is 39 kilonewton per meter square. Okay, so this gives the factor load 39 kilonewton per meter. It is our UDL force. After that we have to identify the maximum moment and maximum shear force. So maximum force factored moment is equal to MB. So for this section it is a WL square by 8 and maximum shear force we have the equation WL by 2. So we get 2 answer. Then after we identified the required plastic section. So after the finding the force, here we identified the which type of section we required. So there we ZP identified the ZP is equal to MP into gamma M0 upon Fy. So according to ZP we choose the one section like the try ISBL 275 at the rate 330 Newton per meter. This ISBL section is identified from the IS 800 2007 page number 139, otherwise from the steel table. Then write down all the data given in the code. Then after we identified the section, it is plastic, semi-compacted or compacted. So we go to the IS 800 table number 2, page number 18. We have the equation epsilon is equal to 200 and 250 divided by Fy. Then after we identify the flange or wave, and then we define the section. So our section is classified as a plastic. Okay, so our provided section is a plastic, so this section is okay or not, we have to check. So that way we have to check two way. One is the moment capacity of section and second is the shear capacity of the section. The check for moment capacity. So design bending strength, we go to the IS 800 clause number 8.2.1.2, page number 53. There we have an equation MD is equal to beta B ZP Fy upon gamma M0. Beta B is equal to 1 for the plastic section, ZP we identified, MD we have, so we got the one moment. It is the design moment of this section which we provided. So what is the required moment? It is the 78 kilonewton into meter. So our section is a resist more moment like the 100.70 kilonewton into meter. So we provided section is safe. Second one, check for shear capacity. So design strength VD, that time we also go to the IS 800 clause number 8.4.1, page number 59. So in which VD is equal to AVFY upon root 3 gamma M0. We identified the shear capacity of the section, it is the 138.56 kilonewton. So our shear force is a 78 kilonewton. So our section is safe in the shear also. So our provided section is okay. So we up to here we analyze the section. Now we go for the design. So before the going for design, we have to analyze the different forces acting on the panels. So we have to analyze the different members of the panels. So what is the difference member of the panel? One is the top chord member, bottom chord member, diagonal member, vertical members. After the finding the different force, then we have to design the section. So now next step is a design and type of the lattice girder. So first we analyze loads. So dead load on slab is equal to 2.75 kilonewton per meter square. Width of walkway is 4 divided by 4, center 5.5 kilonewton per meter. Floor finish 1.5 kilonewton per meter. Assume self weight 0.7. We got the dead load. Then after we make the factor dead load, then after we make the factor live load, and total factor UDL is equal to 26.6 kilonewton into meter. Analysis of forces in truss member. So forces, we have to analyze the which type of force is acting in the truss member. First, forces in top chord member. So it is the top chord member is U0, U1, U1, U2, U2, U3, U3, U4. We finding up to center line. So there as the it is the compressive member. So height of ILD, influence line diagram, is equal to A multiply with the L minus A divided by L into H. So for the member U0, U1, we can identify the height of ILD. It is the 3 multiply with 24 minus 3 divided by 24 multiply with the 3. A is the 3, L is equal to span length 24, H is equal to height. Okay, so here we using the influence line diagram because it is the bridge structure. That time number of time of shear force and bending moment change. That type influence type of diagram is a very useful to identify the force in the different component. This figure gives the idea about the for the top chord member for compressive force. It is the U0, U1, second one U1, U2, third one U2, U3 and fourth one U3, U4. So for the similar way we can identify the different forces in the top chord member. So we can see in this, force in the member is equal to area of ILD multiply with the total UDL. So for the PU0 U1, PU1 U2, PU3 U2 U3 and PU3 U4, we identified the area of ILD and total UDL we have already. So we got the forces in the member. After that we go for forces in the bottom chord member. So bottom chord member are the tension member because it carries the different loads. So these are the tension member. The force in the top chord member and bottom chord member between parallel diagonal will be equal in magnitude but opposite in nature. Okay, so got it? The forces in top chord member and bottom chord member between parallel diagonal. So see this figure. So U0 U1, it is diagonally connected bottom member L1 L2. So will be equal in magnitude but opposite in nature. So P L1 L2 is equal to minus P U0 U1. It is opposite in nature. Second one, P L2 L3. It is the minus P U1 U2. Third one, P L2 L3 is equal to minus P U2 U3. For member L0 L1 opposite joint. So for member L0 L1 opposite joint is a U0, right? So that time small a is equal to 0. Okay. So first member, it is the height of ILD is equal to 0. The force in member L0 L1 is equal to 0. So force in bottom chord member P L0 L1 is equal to 0. After that P L1 L2, it is the minus P U0 U1. So we can directly answer that. Then after P L2 L3, it is the minus P U1 U2. Then after P L3 L4, it is the minus P U2 U3. Okay, so we can easily identify the bottom chord member forces. Next one, force in a vertical member. So vertical member is U0 L0, U1 L1, U2 L2, U3 L3 and U4 L4. So for the different member we identified the force. So first we have to analyze the member PU0 L0. So first we identified the area 1 by 2, 24 is the span length and the diagonal member 0.875, it's a multiply with the load, so it gives the force. After PU1 L1 is equal to member U1 L1. So there is the two type of forces acting, that one is the compressive and tensile, because vertical member is connected with the bottom and top chord member. So first we identified the compressive area. We can see in the figure it is our compressive area, and below the axis it is our tensile area. So combination of that we can identify the total area and then we identified the total force. See this calculation, it is the tension area. So we got the net area. So force due to dead load. So we have the dead load and we have the live load. So we make the live load compressive and live load in tension area. So we got the first member. It is the load combination becomes, what is the load combination? Dead load plus live load, but live load in compression as well as dead load plus live load in the tension. So we get the two load combination. After that, as well as member U2 L2, we can see this. Then after member U2 U3 L3, we got that. So we got the total load, three load combination. Then we go for the diagonal members. So force in the diagonal member. So we have to identify the force in diagonal member. So diagonal members is connected with the verticals member and bottom chord member. Okay. So sin theta is equal to V divided by D. D is equal to V upon sin theta. So we can write the V cosec theta. So force in a diagonal member is equal to minus force in a vertical member multiply with the cosec theta. Theta is the 45 degree. So cosec theta is equal to 1.414. it is opposite in nature. Okay, so we can write D is equal to V divided by sin theta, we multiply with the V cosec theta. Compressive we take the positive, tensile we take the negative. So we make the one table and identify the diagonal forces. So after that we got the design forces. So by using the design forces we make the design of the section. So first one is the top chord member. So top chord member, what is the maximum force is taken as a design force. Then after bottom chord member, then after vertical member, then after diagonal member. So these are the design force for the different section. So design of bottom chord member. So first we design the bottom chord member. In the bottom chord we have the force, it is the minus 598.5 kilonewtons. So for the identified the design of tension member. So for the design of tension member we go to the section number 6 from IS 800 2007 page number 32. That step we have to follow. The first we identified the required gross area T upon Fi into gamma m0. Then after we got the AG required for the single angle, so divide by 2. So try 2 ISA 125 mm multiply with the 75 multiply with 8 mm on both sides of gusset blade with the longer leg horizontal. So AG required we got from the steel table. Strength governed by yielding of cross section. Again we go to the IS 800 page number 32. We have the equation TD is equal to AG into Fi upon gamma m0. So we got the design strength. Is it 699.09 kilonewton? It is greater than our force is 598.5 kilonewton. So it is okay. Then after we provide the bolt. So consider the 25 bolts. So 25 bolts here we provided. After that we identified bolts in a single shear or double shear. So it is in double shear because gusset plate connected with the two angles. So bolts in a double shear. So after the finding the shear capacity of bolt, we got 45.3. It is our shear capacity. Multiply with the 2. It is double shear. So we got the shear capacity of bolt is 90.6 kilonewton. After that we can identify the number of bolt required. One number of bolt required equation is equal to total load divided by strength, shear double shear capacity of the section. So total load we have. So we got the bolt value and then we identified the number of bolts. So here were 7 nose, 7 number of bolts is required. So we identified the number of bolt. Now we have to identify the minimum pitch and end distance. Again we go to the IS 800 2007 page number 73 and page number 74. We have the equation minimum pitch is equal to 2.5 into D. Minimum edge distance is equal to 1.7 DH. Okay. Then we design the section. We can see in the figure. It is the 7 bolts which is connected with the 2 angle with the gusset plate. Okay. Next, strength governed by rupture of the section. So TDN is equal to alpha AN FU upon gamma M1. It is page number 33 from IS 800. We got that equation. We have to identify the net area of the section. So for the net area of the section, we have to minus the whole diameter of the section. Okay. So 75 minus thickness of the half 8 by 2 minus 22. It's our whole diameter. Plus 125 minus thickness of section multiply with the overall thickness of the section. So we got the net area. Then after TDN, so it is the 730.73 kilonewton. So its register greater than force above than we required. So our section is okay. Now check for the strength governed by the block shear failure. Is also page number 33 from IS 800 section number 6. So we got that equation, find the AVG and AVN, then after ATG and ATN. AVG for the compression member, ATG for the tension. So we got that TDB1 and TDB2. TDB1 and TDB2. So provide the 2 ISA 175 multiply with the 75 multiply with the 8 mm on the both side of gusset plate is a okay. So first bottom chord member design is over. Design of top chord member, it is the compression member. So we design as per the IS 800 page number 33 from table number 9C. So design compressive force we have. Assume the slenderness ratio is 100 mm. Then after we identified the FCD, then after we identified the area required. Now we go for the table number 9C for page number 42 and we go to the section. So we provide the one section 150 multiply with the 115 multiply with the 12 on both side of gusset plate with the longer leg horizontal. Okay, then after from the steel table we identified the RZZ and RYY. Okay, and we got the value of KL for the end condition. So it is the KL upon RY. From the table number 9C, KL upon RY and F5 we have. So we got the value of FCD by interpolating them. Okay, so we got the FCD, so we got the design compressive force. So it is the greater than according to we require, so our section is safe. Design of vertical member. So the vertical member we have the design load. Assume the slenderness ratio. Again we vertical member we design as a compressive force. So it's designed similar like the top chord member. So area we got P divided by FCD. Now we got the table number 9C page number 42. So try to ISA 90 by 90 by 100 mm on the both side of gusset plate. It is the 12 mm thick. So we got the value of KL upon R. Then after we interpolate and we got the value of FCD. Then we got the design compressive force. Okay. So provided 2 ISA 90 by 90 by 110 mm on the both side of gusset plate. So our section here is also okay. Now next, design of diagonal member. Diagonal member is a behave like the tension member. So design T is equal to 395 kilonewton. So AG required is equal to T divided by Fi into gamma m0 from the IS 800 page number 32. Here we also try the 80 by 80 by 6 mm 2 ISA. Then after we find the strength governed by yielding of gross section. So consider the 25 mm size of bolt. So it's in a double shear. We got the number of bolts. It is the 5 nose. Strength governed by rupture of net section. Then after we design the joint. So first we design the joint U0. So strength of 25 bolts in the double shear. So we got the shear capacity number of bolt required in U0 U1. It is the 4. Then after number of bolt required in U0 L1, it is 5. Number of bolts required U0 L0, it is 4 nose. So this figure is give the idea how to provide the different bolts in the different section. Okay friends, thank you.